Posterizing, tiled printing.
Rasterbating!
We're gonna make big posters, people. Welcome to DIYTryin.
Let's make something cool.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Trisha Hershberger.
And Michael Hand is out on the injured reserve list this week after a terrible laser shaving accident.
Ooh, well, Michael's half face aside, we're gonna make some giant posters!
Yes, we are. This is really, really cool and really, really easy. If you have a printer, like a standard size printer.
Okay.
And a little bit of software on the internet, which brings us to Rasterbating, a pile of paper, and some patience. Like the hardest part of this is actually getting the stuff on the wall. So we actually have a map you and I did before, and we've got some artwork we have permission to use. And this is kind of crazy because what it does is it's called tiled printing. Ooh, I like that. We can start laying them out up here.
Yeah.
So the prints you're looking at here are from Raster. Raster, it runs locally on your machine. It's got an application for Windows, OS 10, for Linux. Rasterbator has kind of a Windows app, but mostly you use it at the Rasterbator website. And so what you're looking at here is a tiled image. And what it does is it takes your JPEG, PNG, TIFF, just about anything on the planet, and it cuts it into sections that'll fit into the size paper you chose. Could be 8.5 by 11, could be A4 if you're in Europe, could be letter, could be legal size. And then it prints them all out. And this part's really, really simple. Where it gets crazy is when you start playing around with how big you can get. The biggest one I've done was about 180 sheets, which I think was 12 by 8 feet. But if you take a look at the...
That's pretty big.
I've seen people do ones that were like 1,000 sheets. Wow. Well, yeah, in that case, you really want somebody else paying for the ink because the most expensive part of something like Raster, which is doing a full, full page, full bleed print, is you start blowing through your ink cartridges really, really fast. So you want to see what the Rasterbator looks like?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is the Rasterbator, and it's pretty simple stuff. We're gonna upload a file from my desktop, which hopefully turns out to be, hey, Abe Lincoln.
It's Abe. It's a pretty sexy picture of Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln was a stud. US letter is kind of the standard thing here, and you can choose portrait or landscape. And like everything else in life, I don't know, most things work portrait unless you have a big wide image. You can see it in the background, there's a human here. So if you're like, I need this big enough for people to stand next to.
Oh, you can scale it right there.
Yeah, so you can go like, okay, I'm 4 sheets wide. Let's make it 8 sheets wide.
Oh, snap.
And then you see how it rescales the person on the side there. So now we're 1.73 by 2.21 meters.
Okay.
Which is, 6 by like more than 6 feet, which is a sad, sad sign that someday I'm going to have to be able to figure out how to do the metric system. So once you've done that, in this case, black and white's kind of a natural.
Okay.
And so what it just did there is halftone the image.
Okay.
You can also go in and drop a Pantone color in or pick a color that you want. So we can get, what color do you want to make Abe?
Let's make him green. Yeah, I'm down for that. Like the money.
Brace yourselves. Background color on white.
Boom.
There we go. And if you have a full color picture like we were printing out before, you want to click multicolor, and that gives you a giant, the full color image.
And if you click the presets there, does that just make it spotted?
Let's find out.
Let's see.
Hemophilia. That's actually not bad looking.
Oh, it's not at all.
Want to try Riley by Night? Antediluvian Newspaper? Acid Attack?
Ooh, who got to name these?
I don't know. Patriotic Moose?
Yes.
Ah, that works.
I'm into Patriotic Moose. Let's do it.
Patriotic Moose. And then finally, you got your output options. So the standard thing is a halftone, and if you want smaller dots, you can go down to 3 millimeters, which will give you more detail.
Okay.
And you can also get bigger dots, but 25 is kind of the standard setting. 25 millimeter dots will give you this huge, sort of really random looking image. And it's either gonna look like art school, and that's the original.
Oh wow, look what we did to it. I'm sorry, Abe.
And then when you're done, it has 2 more things going on. Cutout line, so if you want to cut the edges off, it kind of makes it easier to cut it by putting a little dimness sort of wrap around it.
Yeah.
And the page position actually numbers all the pages. And that way, if you screw up as you're pulling them out of the printer, you don't have to spend 18 hours puzzling through your 64 pages to figure out where Abe's hands and feet are.
Rasterbate 64 pages.
And then it creates a giant ass PDF file. And then you take the PDF file and you print it out on your printer, and you get something like this. Now, obviously, this is not Abe Lincoln down here, but the concept is the same. And this is where the fun kind of starts. So with that one over there, the map, we did it with tape. We've stapled them to walls. I've seen people do wallpaper paste. Do not do that if you are in a place where your landlord is a real pain in the ass about your deposit.
Yeah.
I saw somebody do an amazing job. They basically like wallpaper pasted an entire wall.
That'd be so cool.
It was incredible. And then they lost their entire deposit. By the way, if you've got a fancy tool like Illustrator, you can get the same effect. All you gotta do is go into the scaling section of the print box and select tile full pages, and you get a full range of options inside of there. And what you're looking at right now is, of course, Michael Hand's face. And one of the places you can learn about Adobe tools like Illustrator is our sponsor, lynda.com/DIY, along with guides to learn how to use Illustrator. They can pretty much make you, well, geez, a Premiere expert or just about any other tool. Photoshop, they have skills they will teach you through their video tutorials, and you will be supporting DIYTryin. So lynda.com/DIY, go check it out, please. Trish,
yeah,
this was fun.
This was super fun. Now I know that I can make whatever poster I want and just lacquer it up on my wall.
And do you own your place, or are you going to be refunding the deposit? So will you be taping or stapling it to your wall, or thumbnailing?
Well, first I'm gonna get out a real big ladder, and then I will probably be poster tackieing it.
Is it gonna be a Lord of the Rings print?
Yeah, I'm gonna do all of Middle Earth, the map.
Really?
Sure, wouldn't that be cool?
Yes, you have to send us a picture to @DIYTryin or DIYTryin@risen3.com. Please subscribe at youtube.com/DIYTryin or DIYTryin.com. Comment down below what's coming up with you on the YouTubes.
You can check me out on youtube.com/sourcefed or youtube.com/sourcefednerd. That's 7 days a week. You can also find me on the Twitters @thatgirltrish, no I in the girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching DIYTryin. Hopefully Mike will be out of the hospital, and we will see you next week.
Oh, does he look like Two-Face?
I made a joke about that last week, and then it turned true, so I felt kind of bad about that joke. He'll be just as cute. He'll just be wearing a face mask.
He looks like Brad Pitt.
At least if you look at him this way.